I'm so excited that you're interested in one of our saddles. I wanted to make a really quick saddle fit of how I do it just to help you with your buying experience. Now, the best way you can do this without a specialized tool is to go get a wire hanger. Bend it in half, and you're gonna have to manipulate it a little bit so that it fits your horse. There's 1,000 different things that go into saddle fit. I'm gonna show you the simplest things. You can get as crazy as you want about bar spread and rise and so many different things, but I'm gonna make this really easy so you know what saddle is best for you and your horse. So here I have a quilting ruler. These are bendy, you can get them on Amazon, and I'm just going into the middle and I'm gonna bend it in half as if it were a wire hanger. Now that puts me right at 12, and I'm gonna go ahead and spread it apart where it's pretty even. Now when I do this, I'm going to go to my horse's wither, and here we can see the shoulder muscle really easily on low. See the shoulder muscle, and the shoulder muscle is going to come back and forth as she runs. So we wanna make sure not to hinder this muscle. So as we're looking at the wither, my saddle is gonna go about right here. And you can typically look at where would be the top of her wither and put 3 or 4 fingers and see about where your saddle is going to rest. Then just slip your hanger or your ruler down over your horse, just where you can get a little bit of clearance. Not much, that's not gonna determine your gullet size. And then just put your finger where it is that you see it makes first contact. So I'm gonna measure her, I'm gonna take a quick look behind and check out exactly where we make first contact. And for her, I can quickly see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 right on the money. So now I can easily fit her to one of our semi-quarter horse bars saddles. If I have full quarter horse bars, I can also shim it for 6.5 so that it fits perfectly, and I'll show you that also. Okay, you're gonna take that same wire hanger and check out your saddle tree. So the rise or the clearance is here, and it's typically measured from here to here, but what we wanna measure is the gullet. We don't wanna get too technical, that way we can see what's gonna be the most comfortable for our horse. So the rule is from mid-concho to mid-concho, so it's a little bit tricky because you are going against padding, but this is a 7-inch gullet. If I'm looking at another tree, again, I'm gonna go concho to concho, and I'm gonna take my measuring tool and go in here. I can see that this one is a 6.5. So now, knowing that she's a 6.5, I'm actually gonna pull this one off as a 7 and show you how we would fix this if you already have a 7. Now, of course, a saddle for each horse is ideal, but in case you want to use one of our build-up pads or be taught how to shim, I'm gonna show you how I do it. I'm gonna put this on her without a saddle pad just so you guys can see what you're looking for. So, this is our round skirt force, the chocolate. And as you can see, it's coming down just a little bit in contact with a little bit of pressure on the front end of her. The reason it's doing that is because the gullet is a little bit too big. So we want the pressure to be even or rocked back a little bit. So one thing you really have to watch out for is if you are rocking a saddle back, you don't want to then put pressure on the bars in the hind end to create a bunch of lumbar pressure. We want this saddle to be even. If we see that there's a lot of rock here, especially in the front, we know that that's gonna have a lot of play in the shoulders, so I can shim that or use one of my build-up pads. Let me show you the shim. This is not a super wide shim, this is a 5/8 shim, and I can put this right here to take a lot of that pressure right out of here, so I don't get that rocking anymore. I don't have a saddle that has a ton of play, so if I'm not gonna get her a custom saddle, I can at least shim this right over top of my saddle pad. Or if you have a horse that you notice that you need a little bit more pressure here and here because you don't want that pressure being on the lumbar, I'm gonna show you a tactical solution to that. This is the tactical build-up pad. Now, not every horse is going to need this. This is perfect under a treeless saddle. All of our saddles do have trees, but if I had a horse with an atrophied shoulder muscle up here or needing to relieve a lot of pressure off the back, these build-up pads are perfect. This is a built-up shim. Now this is an aggressive shim, so you may have a horse that doesn't quite need this much. However, if you do and you always have saddle trouble, this will definitely fix most of your problems. Directly over top of these shoulders, I have got a lot of buildup and absolutely no pressure being put on the bars in the back. So this setup is not for every single horse, but it may be for something if you have a horse with a very narrow wither that you need to build up. On her, just one single shim is perfect. This is way too much for her. As you can see, it's ill-fitting over the top of the back. But if you have a horse with an atrophied shoulder or a horse that has a lot of pressure in the back, this is going to be perfectly ideal. Something like Hush Money, one of my horses with really narrow back, would definitely benefit from using one of these or a shim. Okay, now we have a saddle here that is perfectly balanced through the back and through the front. We have zero play up front, zero play over the shoulders. You see there's no pressure coming through these bars. This is a really unique saddle that we just had built. So the back of the saddle has the split tree where we've left that exposed to really wrap around the horse's back so that you have a saddle that just fits really, really snug and amazing. I don't think that this saddle needs a shim at all. It feels like it's not putting too much pressure here. If I ride and see some dry spots, I can always throw that shim underneath, but I feel like this is a really great fitting saddle for her. Let's measure another type of horse. I feel like a lot of barrel racers have a horse like this. Hush Money is 16 hands tall, every bit of it. She doesn't look this big when she's running, but she is a big girl. And you notice she has a really high wither. You can see the angle of her back. She is really, really built up. So it's very difficult to keep a saddle on her. It took us a long time before we were able to build a tree for her. So I'm hoping that everyone can benefit from her tree. So I'm gonna place my wire hanger or my adjustable ruler, take a look in the back and check out my points of contact. Again, I'm looking right behind the shoulder. So I want to be right behind the shoulder, see first point of contact. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7-inch gullet. So I'm going to check out what our 7-inch looks like on her so that you can compare and check out your own fit for your horse at home. So again, I'm looking right behind the shoulder and I want to see that this saddle has enough clearance up here. I want to see that it's not putting too much pressure on the shoulder blade and no pressure on her lumbar and not a lot of play or movement when I move this saddle around. If I felt like I had just a little bit too much room because of bar spread, what I could do is throw a shim on here or a really nice 3/4 inch pad. So on this saddle, I know that the gullet size is about 1/2 inch too small on this horse, and what I'm feeling is pressure under here, which is causing the back to tip up just a little bit. Now because of that, I'm getting a lot of play right here in the saddle. So what I know is that I need to step it up 1/2 size for my gullet, which we saw the 7-inch on her, and that looked really, really good. So I know the saddle is going to fit. I hope this helps your saddle buying journey a lot. We have all 5 of our tree sizes in stock, so make sure to check out our website. Also, if you want something custom, all you need to do is head over to our custom listings. We can do all of this with your seat size and your custom gullet size in a hurry. So I'm very excited that we could help you. I can't wait to help fit your horse absolutely perfectly.